Good morning, this is Hiker Dude Dad, and as we near Thanksgiving, we're going to explore the site of the first European settlement in Pennsylvania. Let's go! So I'll simplify a little bit here, but the original inhabitants of what is now Pennsylvania included the Lenape and Susquehannocks. To be clear, humans have occupied Pennsylvania and the Americans for thousands of years before Europeans came. Today, schools still teach that America was discovered by Christopher Columbus in 1492, but we're peeling back layers of history and discovering way more than we did years ago, and we know that that's simply not true. Columbus really landed in San Salvador and the Bahamas and Cuba during his first two voyages, and never set foot in North America. His third and fourth voyages, he set foot in Central and South America, but he never saw North America. If you want to get really technical about it, Vikings occupied a settlement in Newfoundland, Canada in 1021, almost 500 years before Columbus. A study in 2021 confirmed that. So I haven't told you where we are. We are at the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge on Tinicum Island. We are just south of the city of Philadelphia, near the Philadelphia airport. This refuge protects the largest freshwater tidal marsh in Pennsylvania. It covers 1,000 acres and there are 10 miles of trails here. This marsh is super well known among bird watchers. 80 species nest here and 300 species have been recorded. Endangered species such as the leopard frog and red-bellied turtles also find refuge here. So it's getting close to Thanksgiving, and as I talk about this refuge for wildlife, I can also talk about people who took refuge. Thanksgiving, accompanied by copious feasting, is traced to the Pilgrims and Puritans who emigrated from England in 1620 on the Mayflower. They brought their previous tradition of days fasting and days Thanksgiving with them to New England. The 1621 Thanksgiving at Plymouth, Massachusetts was celebrated with the indigenous Wampanoags, who helped them get through the previous winter by giving them food in times of scarcity. In exchange, the Pilgrims offered protection for the Wampanoags from the rival Narragansett tribe. Pennsylvania was first mapped by the French in 1524 and labeled l'Arcadia, or wooded coast. Over the next 100 years, the indigenous tribes of Pennsylvania engaged in trade with the Europeans, and the fur trade was a major motivation for the European colonization of North America. In the 1600s, the Dutch, Swedish, and British all competed for southeastern Pennsylvania. This is amazing. I have this awesome nature boardwalk crossing the former Tinicum Marsh here, all to myself today. The area surrounding the John Hines Refuge was diked and drained by the early Swedish, Dutch, and English farmers. The marsh here shrank to 200 acres during the early 1900s. In 1955, Gulf Oil donated land that became this wildlife preserve, which opened in 1972. Even here in nature, there are invasive species. These turtles look awesome, these red-eared sliders, but they are invasive and they compete with native turtles for food, nesting, and shelter spaces. Sound familiar? We're gonna leave the refuge now and go to my next location and talk more about European colonization. This sign couldn't be more perfect. So in 1638, Sweden established New Sweden. New Sweden extended into modern-day Pennsylvania and was centered on the Delaware River with a capital near Wilmington. In 1643, Fort New Gothenburg, the first European settlement here in Pennsylvania, was established here on Tinicum Island. So here on the shores of the Delaware River on Tinicum Island in 1643, Johann Prince established Fort New Gothenburg here, the first permanent European settlement in Pennsylvania. Literally right here. He climbed these steps when he got off the boat. Officials in Stockholm had given him specific instructions to build a fort that would strengthen Sweden's control of the region and the trade on the Delaware River. The governor chose Tinicum Island because of its strategic location. It's on the western side of the Delaware River, and it's south of the Schuylkill River. On this island, his fort could dominate both rivers and control the valuable fur trade. So here on the water is a statue of Johann Prince. He was 6 feet tall and 400 pounds. The statue is very flattering, but it still stands right here as a tribute to the governor. They have a lot of great signs around here. So this site contained a massive new fort right here. And inside of that, this is the first gubernatorial mansion in Pennsylvania. This is the Princehof, Governor Prince's estate. It was a spacious home 2 stories high with brick fireplaces and glass windows that he imported from Sweden. So in 1645, just a year after completion, Governor Prince's new home and all the buildings of the fort burned to the ground. Gunner Sven Voss fell asleep at his post with a lit candle. It was a great loss to the colony. The storehouse was filled with fur and tobacco that was going to be shipped back to Sweden. Everything was quickly rebuilt, bigger and better, however. And it says here it was rebuilt with a pleasure garden, take that as you will, and a brewery, which is awesome. You can pause there and read that. But the new fort also had its own storehouses, outhouse buildings, dairy barns, a log sauna, and a summer house. So despite of all these luxuries, the small colony struggled to survive. Prince faced growing internal dissent and desertions as settlers left New Sweden for neighboring English and Dutch colonies. In 1653, 21 settlers presented Prince with a petition in which they described him as cruel, accused him of exceeding his powers as governor. Outraged at what he considered a mutiny, Prinz arrested the suspected ringleader of the group, Anders Jansen, put him on trial for plotting rebellion, and executed him by hanging. When the complaints against him continued, Prinz sent his resignation to his superiors in Sweden. By the end of the year, he left the colony with his wife and several of his daughters on a ship bound for New Amsterdam. There, Johan Prinz arranged passage on a Dutch ship back to Sweden. So in 1655, during the Second Northern War, the Dutch captured New Sweden. In the late 1600s, there were a series of small Dutch-Anglo wars which led to most of Pennsylvania falling into British hands. On March 4th, 1681, Charles II of England granted the province of Pennsylvania to William Penn to settle a debt owed to Penn's father. William Penn landed in North America the following year and founded the colonial capital of Philadelphia. I'll wrap this up here in a cabin here in New Gothenburg, New Sweden, and just say Thanksgiving is on Thursday. Have a happy Thanksgiving. I saw a terrible accident on the way down here, and you just think of the ramifications of something like that and how many people it affects. So give thanks for the people around you, that they're here, that they're safe. Spend some time with them. If you like what I'm doing here, I thank you for liking, subscribing, ring that bell for notifications. And we'll see you out there next time. Thanks for watching.